compare one report another, and no objection from the defendant. 17, RB Lujono, PDGT, another witness. So he was the head of the division for exploration of Kadamigas based on the assignment letter from BP Migas, and as in his duties, according to the appointment letter from the head of BP Migas 2002 to May, he has to implement the policies, especially for the control of operations between contractor to support the sustainability, and based on the government regulation number 2 about the implementation of oil and gas exploration. Article 10 says that BPMIGAS has to control so that the natural resources management can bring the optimal revenue for the state to be used for the people's property and prosperity. And according to this, this is the appointment as the head of the division. And for FE, and for those who do not use FE, there should not be any evaluation. So just license FE, for example, for drilling, because the expert is only in the exploitation division. And consortium assigned to FA, the first one FA 07, June 2001, $2.4 million US dollar. And that's about the bioremediation service for SLN SBF Pematang, $1.2 US dollar, Mutiara $800 US dollar, and Timbul and the second one FA 27 to clean up COCS based on and that includes Minas, 5 SBFs and 1 SBF in the area, and the data of each of the AFS cannot be explained by the witness. And based on the guidelines, what has to be complied is for the background that includes all the technical details, and for the hauling on, maintenance, hauling out, and there is guidelines here, and FA and BOD, and that's the implementation of the law and then the government regulation. And when there was this amendment to these two regulations, number 20, the BPA 2000/2007, 13 August 2007, together with the annexes from the proposal, $11 million US dollar approved by BPGAS is $7 million US dollar. And after the technical team and after CPI presented this, there are several work that do not need to be done in the modification of COCS, SLS, Minas, and some of the amount of money were subtracted from the proposal. 9 million to 7 million US dollars. So witness could not explain in details, but philosophically it's just for the efficiency of the operational costs. So the discussion for the FEE is the scope of is FME and also from CFISLS that they use the budget. The budget was already allocated for the ongoing year. Service was not implemented as the budget was already approved, and the function is the management tool in planning and also financial control. And this is the authority to spend money and also to be charged by BPMIGAS, and principally FE can be before BPNB, and BPNB can be included in BPNB, and administration IFE is governed and provision budget and reporting procedure 1999, and the activities that have to be there include RECTA, major project, include exploration, drilling, and also rework, and also for other projects, including bioremediation work for environmental work. And PTK 07, the second one is the work plan and also to budget. And the period is 30 years, and this will be done for a month after the completion of the work. And the witness said that close-up report can be sent to the budget and also financial budget and the head of the division. The function that exploitation division has, first to inform about AFE and the scope, and also to compare it with the close-out report and to look at the validity report, and to see whether the activities have already appropriate and therefore close-out is possible. And the second one is about technical operational issues, and to say that the project has met the objective with the same budget, or more or less with the difference with the tolerance threshold of 1 or 10%, and the cost recovery can be and for the contract, and also there should be FA. There is no obligation, but because philosophically this is the continuation of the bridging is continuation of the main contract, and it has to be there. And Narayan de la Sexed is the employer of Sumigita Jaya, the manager of field. He has to evaluate the work plan of the users, that is CPI, and to prepare personnel to do operation on the field weekly report to the CPI and also to make coordination with all the field workers. And Sumigita Jaya, this is the implementing contractor with the number of contract 78 OK, signed by the defendant as the director of Sumigita. According to witness, he is bioremediation from Sumigita Jaya, and according to him, bioremediation is only checked with visual checking, and COCS. He didn't know the areas of the COCS. According to him, the allocations was determined by CPI. Sumigita Jaya then sent the personnel to the on-the-spot checking, and no objection from the defendant. And Sangku, the defendant and Sumigita Jaya, there is in the bioremediation project, he is the coordinator on the field, and his responsibility is to coordinate all the workers on the site, and also to give report Narasana about the needs from the site, that he know about Tripata floor, and Tripata floor is a supervisor that represents CPI and supervising the work of Sumigita Jaya in doing this bioremediation work, and no objections from the defendant. 20, Similarly, she knows the defendant because defendant is the subordinate. According to her, this is a construction company, and Sumigita Jaya, this is the scope, and the defendant, based on the he has been trained by a bioremediation expert at the office of Sumigita Jaya in Pekanbaru, and nomination for her, she never received that from the contractor and also from the company. So that bioremediation has been done by bioremediation expert who has been trained in Bandung, conducted by PTCO, this organizer, and then the instructor Dena from ITB Bandung. And sit witness always refers to the survey released by Saffron Pacific Indonesia. And it is just checking on those, and the area has to be bioremediated, was determined by CPI, and Sumigita Jaya will only send the personnel to check this, and the witness, expert from Sumigita Jaya, according to him, microbe has the effect to reduce the TPH level, and he got email from Chevron, and he conducts this according to the SOP. And according to in doing this, he complies with the SOP by CPI. SCJ did not do that. He knows about the bioremediation. This is one of the treatment method for waste, and it can use microorganisms from the plants and also other microorganisms, and this can reduce the concentration of TPH. And the reference for this work, bioremediation, is SOP for, and this is based on instruction from CPI. And also there is this regulation by KLH 128 about the biotreatment, and this is the basis of Sumigita Jaya in doing the bioremediation work for PT Chevron, and that is the contract to reduce but how to do this, she didn't know, because the one who knows that is the director. Before 2008, a witness heard from Sumigita Jaya that there was CPI is subcontractor of Tripatra. And 2008 up to now, Sumigita Jaya is the direct contractor to CPI, and our contract between Sumigita Jaya and CPI. She is the expert quality analysis, quality control at Sumigita Jaya, among which first contract 7-8 okay, that is for the work 2008 up to the end 2011, including SBF 80, SBF 72/5A/99 for C, GSH, and 948. And through the contract number 78 okay, the amendment, the last one, contract C 123, witness knew this from or that was received by Sumigita Jaya. The contract, the second one, contract 995. 90, the work started at the end of 2011, and the bioremediation work that was done by bioremediation work to clean the contaminated area at Chevron Pacific Indonesia is using landforming method. So the process of waste by spreading the COCS up to a certain area with a certain thickness, more or less 30 centimeters, so that the granulation by microbe can happen. And the activities of this COCS treatment use this bioremediation method is using a database in the form of drawings, and this is then Sumigita Jaya will do the checking, and this is done by the KCC or KA Aferi Mukhtarzi, witnessed by consultant from CPI, that is Tripadrapur, Ridwan Chair, and also accompanied by Adit, the coordinator from CPI, and Dr. Sumigita now Andy, and Sumigita draws a plan, map, and based on this drawing, then COCS is cleaning is given to Sumigita, and Sumigita is waiting for further instruction from CPI, and then the experts' duties is to take the sample with Adit and Fori, and his witness did this under the supervision of Shafrul, coordinator of area, the coordinator for construction area Ade Musadusi, KACC and next the witness will give this to Adit, and indication of the communication was done through email, and Sumikita Jaya in this case did hauling in to stockpile, and the stockpile sometimes checking is done to check the TPH level before it is transported to SBF. After hauling in done by Sumikita Jaya, they wait for and after we are processing Sumikita Jaya, and then the work was done to do mixing in the processing pit, and after this the sample taking of the initial sample of COCS. If it didn't, then from the sampling, then the sampling will be given to the coordinator of Minas CPI, and here Sumigita will wait for the initial sampling by the laboratorium from CPI, and then sampling will be see if it is between 4 and 15%, then treatment will start by using the provision of and then urea and dolomite, and with the elements C by N to P 100 to 15 to 1, and then after giving the nutrients, and then there will be mixing up again to make sure that the distribution will be even, and this is done once in 2 weeks until the TPH level is percent, and this processing pit this can be done, and after the process training, after the treatment at the processing pit, and then Sumigita will give a report to CPI, and after rolling out CPI, Sumigita J will conduct hauling out to the spreading area that has been determined by CPI, and while doing this bioremediation at CPI, he has never checked the bacteria types in the soil, but Sumigita Jaya has already asked to Lamigas Riau, and he was the expert. He asked the lab from University of Riau to calculate and also analyze the microbe that is contained in the sample taken from SBF 5 East 999 Minas, and based on the source of waste. And this is for own consumption because it is not regulated in the contract, and a microbe was never tested in the COCS. And also the types of bacteria, because based on the contract, Sumikita Jaya has never been, is not requested to do this. So this is to determine the TPH and to reduce the TPH to below 1%. And based on the reviews and also the actual report from the and also with this provision of urea and SP and dolomite, those metabolism for a microbe, and theoretically explained, microbe can degrade, and also to stimulate the process of the degradation by microbe, and this is the nutrient to multiply the microbe. And witness read the ministerial decree, but he did not compare whether it is in compliance or this not in compliance with this KLH decree, and no objection from the defendant. So my colleague will continue. Okay, we will continue. 21. Cynthia, he did not know the defendant, and he is the manager of financial forecast analysis and reporting from Chevron Indonesia. First, to coordinate the implementation of the reporting activities and financial reporting for CPI, and also to analyze the reports financial for the head of the top management, and also for the government and partners, and also to bring big inputs to the top management, and also to develop the capacity of the team, for example, for promotion through the mechanism that is effective, and also to maintain the capacity of the team. And the reports check of FQRs to establish reports that start from the planning, and also to develop internal planning. As together, it's jointly done with the team, and coordinating the implementation and the reporting for financial CPI, his duty is only related to financial accounting and not about the description of the work. And on capital and cost recovery is calculated on the ongoing year, and the capital is calculated against the depreciation. If the cost is not capital but expenditure, then it is current year operating cost, and in the report it is in the report 3811. And FQR, it consists of the well operation cost, secondary recovery cost, transportation of electricity maintenance, and also operational supporting cost. And for report 8, this is a report for operational cost overall of the expenditure spent by CPI, but before there was no details of the cost, so we don't know whether bioremediation cost was there, but all non-capital operations costs, including for bioremediation, if any, then it has been recovered in the ongoing year. But to know the invoice of bioremediation, this is the FQR 8, so the invoice has to be traced in the cost center, and the account code, which is in the JDE system, JDE work of PT CPI. You can see the mapping and the position in the FQR 8. And when a witness was asked by prosecutors to explain about FQR invoice for bioremediation work in CPI done by Smigita Jaya, a witness tried to trace the big ledger, and he saw some amounts costed as non-capital cost recovery, and in the big ledger there was this cost for contract 781, okay, and also number, but he didn't know what was that because he just saw it just shortly, and in his position he just looked at the calculation of revenue, and also from the big ledger, and that is the amount reported there. Before they get the figures from the planning division, and then they establish WPNB, and it covers Orokan, PSCPJ, Kalimantan, TSG, and other areas, and it will then be assigned by the president director or managing director, and then will be forwarded to BP Migas through the operating support PT CPI. And witness did not see the data for bioremediation, only based on summary that is established by accountable division CPI, and based on the summary it was known that the cost was paid to SGG for contract 781 OK, and also 99 something. And also for the bioremediation work, it was already posted in the big ledger of the company, and FQR of the actual data, it was taken from GDA system, and also the reporting, the supporting documents were from the group inventory IFE, and also fixed asset or EIF, and while WPNB data was according to the one forwarded to group to BP Migas, and no correction can be done. And for bioremediation work that has already spent by CPI is amounting to 10,246,13. And from that amount, the amount of money that is already paid to Smigita Jaya deducted with this the first one, contract 781, invoice in dollar 6. Payment in dollars 6.01, PPA 128, and then contract number. Invoice 228, payment 221327, PPH 31, total invoice 7. Payment 6,6911, PPH. So for remediation that has been paid by CPI to SGG and GTG as non-capital has been calculated as a cost recovery in those years, and that the description of cost recovery cost for bioremediation for Sumigita is as follows: A, 2008 amounting to 346, and this is the FQR 8, the third line, column contract service, and the total is $23.7 where bioremediation cost is amounting at $348 and 2008 amounting to $76 in report 3 of FQR, line 4, column actual capital, amounting to $1.9 million in the FQR report 8, line 43, column contract service, and the discount of payment amounting to $4,300, and this is in the FQR report 11, line 47, Sunrisk, and 2010 amounting to $2.5 in FQR column contract service, and discount of payment amounting to $18,000 in the FQR report line 47, line Sunrisk. And 2011 amounting to $2.4 in FQR report 8, column contract service, discount $18,000 in FQR report line 47A. 2012 amounting to $247,000 in FQR 2101, contract service column, discount of payment amounting to $300,000 in the FQR and then column summaries. So the cost recovery calculation was done between 2006-2012 and was reported to BP Migas through financial quarterly report of FQR every 3 months, where for bioremediation work and non-capital is calculated during the ongoing fiscal year, and the mechanism is invoice from vendor and then booking by CPI, and CPI will pay to the vendor, and the total remediation work for Sumigita for 781 contract and also another contract is amounting to $6.921 after deducted by the tax, and witness saw already the invoice when she was confirmed by the legal bureau of CPI November 2012, and witness also was shown by the prosecutors, and in the invoice it was not mentioned about for what work was it, but you see the name of Sumigita, and so that the money is deposited to Sumigita, and the invoice is kept by CPI Rumbai, and with the invoice it showed that actually the payment has already made to Sumigita, and for the bioremediation work payment amounting to $9.9 after deducted with the PPH Article 23. It is already cost recovered, but based on the BP Migas letter that is addressed to DG Budget of Indonesia, it is stated that all cost recovery is suspended and then deducted with the debt from the government as the overlifting by Indonesia. So CPI only received 14.8 million, and that is against the calculation of the production. And BP Migas newsletter dated 15 August 2012 addressed to DG Budget, Ministry of Financial, BP Migas has already instructed the suspension amounting to 6.9 million from 24 million US dollar as the overlifting done by the government done in the second quarter 2012 to take out the bioremediation cost that has been spent by BP Migas, and the liability to PT CPI has not been paid up to now. And from the 24.9 as the overlifting by the government of Indonesia that happened in the second quarter in 2012. In the summer, BP Migas has already been deducted by the government of Indonesia by returning the 3.9 million US dollar to CPI, while the suspension for the total cost for bioremediation work amounting to 9.9 million US dollar. Up to now, witness does not know about the status. He does not know when CPI reports of lifting to BP Migas. He does not know the reason behind the suspension for bioremediation work amounting to 9.9 million US dollar. That witness also does not know what is the basis of BP Migas in calculating the suspension amounting to 9.9 million US dollar. And based on the PSC between CPI and BP Migas, with the validity of the contracts 30 years, and the cost recovery can be done, correction can be done, suspension can be done in the event of a discrepancy in the implementation of the work. And witness said the FQR number 4 and also the invoice from SKJ and the response from the defendants. Defendant does not have any objections to this testimony. Muhammad Adit, he knows as a worker from CPI, he has a professional relation, and the duty as the analyst engineering from CPI, he has to supervise the sample taking activities for food and groundwater at SPF, and also to supervise fertilization of bioremediation work. And he just did the SOP from the bioremediation work that has been done, and also to control the sample taking by Sumigita, and in this case Melayanti Sidauruk. And after a sample was taken, it will be signed, and also it will be handed over to the witness, and also handed over to the lab personnel. And there is this instruction to the laboratory of Chevron, and Chevron lab will conduct the testing according to the order, and the result will be sent by email to the superiors of the witness, Phil Lakson Muklis, and also Emilia Duita. And according to the work order, the testing is against the TPH level, and the objective is to know the content of TPH in the soil, and this is related to the provision of fertilizer. So in the SOP, there is already a formulation how to give the fertilizer, and that is using the formulas C2N2P 100 to 521. So C is carbon contained in the COCS, and N is nitrogen, and P stands for phosphor. So the calculation is done by Melayanti Sidauruk, and the formula is determined by CPI, and CPN is a formula that's already established according to SOP. So it was done by and a witness rechecked the formula. So, for example, he inserted the C content in COCS, and which is already there in the computer system, and the result will automatically appear. And in this Excel formulation is TPH level and also cubication from the COCS. And the result is that the witness did not know the cubication in the processing pit, but in the processing pit this is about 3, but he did not remember about SPF. But the TPH level is between 5 up to 15%. And the fertilizer to COCS, it depends on the TPH level. If TPH level is high, then you need a lot of fertilizer. And sample taking is also done by a witness once in the month, and for one cycle, 3 months. And because the areas are different, then the cycle also different, and he doesn't know about the bioremediation license, that he only referred to SOP in doing his work. And toward the Ministerial Decree 128, he only know about the TPH checking. And TPH checking is also done on the field, and according to him, Sumigita does not do this, and what he does is only related to test sample taking, and COCS testing is done by Meliantis Dahuruk, and he witnessed that directly. And Exxon is a liquid of several colors. If it is black, then it contains oil, and he will give an order to clean this. And also other parameters is used GCLP, and this is to make sure the survival of the degrading microbe. And in 2011, he did the microbe testing just to know the amount of the microbe, but the type was not done. And 15 days after this, the bacteria work, and before this testing toward the bacteria was never done. And CPI at the time did not have the laboratory to do this, but the checking or the testing was done in the laboratory of Riau University, and you need 5 up to 6 cycles in 1 month, and this is taken from several SBFs, and this is location of a bioremediation done by Sumigita. He knows the Melianti, but only professionally, and work order is received by Safrul, and the location on which bioremediation was done include SBF GS strip 6, strip 27, M3E 872, and it was also done in Batam, remediation by SKC, and the witness also took sample, but he forgot when. And in certain location, he took sample from at the time Sumigita was doing the work. Also in other location of SBF between 2010 when they were still bound by a contract, and he did not know whether such characteristic is governed by this, because he only in charge of taking the sample, and he never read the ministerial decree, and he does not know the bioremediation expert. Defendants' response: these defendants does not have any objection toward this. And then another witness, Muklis, he does not know any, and doesn't know the defendant, so he is the supervisor of the work that is done by Sumigita, which is led by the defendant, and he is construction representative as SLS RAM, KMS, Minas, PT Chevron, Pacific Indonesia, and he coordinates the transportation between the source location to the processing pit and also to hauling out, and the supervision that he conducts is the transportation from COCS source to SBF, and he does the work order and gives it to Sumigita so that the COCS is taken to SBF. And he started working April 2011, and he knows 5C 4D 62 and 3 other new locations, 3C86, 3C83, and MBF 66. That when he joined, the data for COCS was already in the planning, was already there in CPI, and according to him, it is according to his knowledge, is based on the survey. And ACE team did the survey, and this is a work unit under RAM team, as witness Adit Amal. Operation Kuku, and then BGB Rafi, and then he forgot. And through the COCS allocations, he issued a hauling in work order to transport COCS from the source to SBF, and the one doing the CSCS checking is MLD. He only checked the work of MADIP if the result of the test. Hekasen test, if the COCS on the spot checking is in the form of CSX to determine the initial TPH level, and the checking is done in 5 SLS, 81 SLS minus, 5C SLS minus, 4 SLS minus, 3 SGS 6 SLS minus, between brackets, not included SBF Kota Bata, and this comes from 8 locations, 3C81/1, 3C and NBS about the volume for each of the contaminated source. He did not remember. According to the regulations, the TPH that can be treated is the TPH that is bigger than 1%, and the work done by Sumigita, according to witness, is to do mixing with Metofactor and then to transport the land if the TPH level is already below 1%. And defendants did not have any objection to that testimony. And in 28, Ridwan bin Said, about the remediation, he did not know. What he know that the COCS is treated in SBF. You mix it with retofactor and soil stabilizer, and then a fertilizer was given, urea, test B, dolomite, and it was determined by CPI ADIF. So the witness only supervised. This is just a nutrient for the bacteria. The witness did not know about the volume and also the types of the bacteria as contaminants. Who knows is Muklis, and as a quality control, he was not equipped with all the locations data of the COCS. He just did the orders from email, and on the field he just make sure that Sumigita did the sampling taking for COCS based on the picture that has been given by CPI. So the contractor take out the upper layer of the COCS, and after COCS is compiled at the processing pit, and ADIT will make sure that this soil is COCS, and according to in compliance with spec TPH for up to 15% with the usage of Hexantax, and also witnessed by quality control and also expert analysis huruf. And if the TPH level is high, then it is mixed with fresh oil, but he doesn't know about the formula for mixing this. And if it's already at the level between 4% up to 15%, then the soil can be transported to stockpile. But witness as the quality control, he did not know about this, and he did not remember about the volume of COCS transported to stockpile. But if the stockpile is already full, then Sumigita will invite the witness as supervisor to measure the volume at each of the stockpile, which is done by the Sumigita survey team. SOP that refers to CPI is the ministerial decree 128 about the procedures to treat contaminated oil or COCS in a biological way. And the duty of the witness is only to make a report, quality control, also to sign together with Sumi Gita and so Pak Muklis from CPI. And this report is only for his superior in Tripatra, that consists his observation, what he see on the field. The response of the defendants, no objection. 25 EG and within Negara as MT. His duty is verification CPI toward the invoicing and to verify the invoice amount from vendor and also to check the actual condition. And there are two contracts, contracts 78 amounting to $6.72 million, and this is the remediation work done by Sumigita Jaya 2008 with the location of AFS Minas, and a contract and for the contract number from $6.7 has already been paid with a total $6 million on December 2011, and the work has already been completed for the first contract. And for the second contract, $541,000 US. It was just paid twice to Sumigita. February 100. So 112 million US dollar, and March 115 million US dollar. So the total amount is 226,000. In the contract C905010, the balance $500,000 US has not been invoiced, and from this amount only 6.8 million has been paid, and the remaining balance still remains at CPI. Why it has not been paid, he doesn't know, but Pak Muklis knows about this, and also Rosie Amelia, the accounting department. And the remaining balance that has been paid, $288,000 US. This is still at PT CPI, and according to him, his knowledge has not yet been invoiced.